Hey, well, my name is Yuli. I am half English, half Norwegian, born in Norway, lived most of my life here in Devon, and I run Bella Couche, which is a small wool-related enterprise. I make a number of products, sort of seat pads, insoles, tea cozies, that kind of thing, useful things, and these spectacle cases. But my main part of my business is shrouds and what I call soft coffins. So the Green Maker initiative is such a brilliant idea, and I think it's really important because what I feel about craft is that makers, it's all about using our hands as tools, and it's about making things from basically the things that are around us. And I feel, for me, it's really important to know what is around me, how it has grown out of the environment, how it's been managed, and how it sort of reacts to my making, in a way. You know, what are it, like throwing a pot, how do you do that? And it's about the sort of the environment, the biochemistry of it, and also once it's made, its purpose, and then finally, how will it go back into the environment? So that's why I feel this is really important, because we need to, as craftspeople using our hands, we need to design from the source and not just from the materials. So, for instance, I'll give you my example, which is wool. So there is wool and there is wool. It all comes from sheep. But which sheep and where in the world does it come from? So somebody taking up felt making, looking on the internet, most likely they will find this very uniform kind of very brightly coloured wool, and it's probably come from Australia or New Zealand or the southern part of the globe. It's probably, the dyeing of it has probably taken place in another part of the world. The dyes have been manufactured in another part of the world, and so already a bright yellow or red uniform length of wool has got a massive carbon footprint, and I can't buy it myself. I've been given some. I've got some here. It's sort of quite useful. I had some children here yesterday, and that's quite useful. They love bright colours. But for me, I've got to know where everything has come from and how it's been farmed. So I need to know what the dyes are and where they've been grown, whether it's environmentally friendly, where they've been grown and processed into a dye, dried or whatever. And I need to know about the wool, how the sheep are farmed, but not only that, what sort of sheep they are. So I prefer primitive breed sheeps like Shetlands, because they have lovely colours in them, but also they are a much more resilient breed. So for me, it sort of really goes back to the genetics of the sheep as well. And when you have a more resilient breed, they are more practical in a way, and they're better for the land. But that has to be married with how you manage those sheep, how you move them through the landscape. So holistic grazing, for instance, is a good thing. Silvopastoralism, there's all these words that are sort of coming into our knowledge, and I think they're really, really important. So that's really why I think it's really important that craftspeople start thinking about every aspect of their craft. And then, of course, into that comes the technology of what we're using to turn that into an object. And So I have a big machine. I don't know if you can see that, a huge sewing machine, very old. It's a very old vintage machine. And I have small sewing machines. I have an iPad. I have a computer, and they're brilliant. You know, without that, I may not have been able to start my business. So I really appreciate them. But I think tools are only as good as the knowledge that we have and the restrictions that the design of something. So what I'm trying to say is, a tool is brilliant, but we need to use it with great intelligence and not let the tools run away with us, with the making. So I'm trying to reduce the amount of sewing, for instance, because that uses electricity, it uses a machine, it uses cotton, which I'm not too happy about, although I've got some organic cotton. And to use it intelligently by going back to my patterns that I cut out and thinking, how can I make this simpler so there's less sewing? And one of my answers is by actually gathering something into a point, making a little wooden toggle like this from the hedgerow here, hazelwood, and sewing that together into a point, and that creates a curve that I need for my shroud. So it's all those things, thinking of all those things in a sort of holistic way, I suppose. How can I do things more simply and better while still having technology for a backup, if that makes sense? I hope it does. Hope it makes sense.